they were just doing real talk. They were just bringing out what they saw in their environment and brought it out in a way that they thought it would be easily consumed by people. Making music.
Y'all just got a snapshot of how Americans really feel. We gave the people a voice.
And ain't none of us got a passport, so you might want to check the source.
Yeah, next question.
Befuddled white guy.
Yeah. Suppose that is right.
I'll sit down and think of a retort.
Well, okay.
That's totally what that is. That's 100% what that is.
The befuddled white guy head shake. Well.
All right. They sure told me.
Hey everyone, we continue our partnership with Universal, talking about Black excellence in filmmaking. And this time we do it with the more recent classic, Straight Outta Compton. We hope you enjoy the discussion. And if you want to stay updated on upcoming films, join Universal's email list at uphe.com/news. Let's see what we got here. And let me go ahead and get ready here. All right, everybody. We are continuing our partnership with Universal, doing Black cinema from their catalog. And as we said, the timing couldn't have been more perfect because we are starting to do more retro reviews. So I decided to pick from their catalog, one that was offered up on the list, a movie I enjoyed back in the day very much. And I decided to do a retro review with this. But the odd thing with this is that I can't say it was really that much back in the day. Some people even say, I don't think it's even that much back in the day to do a retro review on.
Cruising down the street in my 6'4".
This isn't the Crips and Bloods. This is a threat from the federal government.
Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and the rest of those.
Those other guys.
Those other guys.
Yeah, they were, right?
There's a couple of Black Eyed Peas. Everybody's like, who are those guys again?
And the rest of those black dudes that did stuff with them. But yeah, folks, so this is Straight Outta Compton. Now, this came out in 2015. I guess about what, 6 years ago. So really not that long ago. But being that this was on the list, I did want to talk about this. And the reason why I picked it is because NWA, whatever you say about them, you don't even have to like them, but you cannot deny that they were very much ahead of their time. Created a whole genre pretty much. And they are in today, because they were so ahead of their time, they are very relevant. You know, the movies, the NWA and their lyrics and their songs and whatnot have always been out there addressing things that continue to happen today. And they were trying to put it out in the forefront back then. But I want to talk about this movie because, well, we're doing these reviews for Black History Month. And being as Black History Month, it's important to talk about certain things that affect the Black community. And who better and what better movie to talk about those things that are still affecting very large parts of the Black community than Straight Outta Compton, because they address a lot of those things. They addressed those things a long time ago, and we still ain't done a damn thing about them. but hey, I imagine we're getting better. But let's go ahead and get into this. I want to talk about how this movie is so relevant today, as I keep saying, but also why it's so different from so many other biopics out there, especially biopics about music and musicians. Because this speaks bigger. It speaks to something bigger than just one person's life. This addresses several issues that are still happening today, as I said. This is going to be a discussion for a lot of people who have already seen the movie. We're going to go into details about things that might be spoilery. Or we're going to go into details about things that you might not really know that much about unless you've seen the movie. And we don't want to spend a whole lot of time going into details that'll weigh the discussion down. So if you haven't seen the movie, definitely go check it out. I think I might even have, and you see it at the end of the video, I have a code for people to get the video from Universal if you want to buy it from them with special features and whatnot.
Oh, nice.
But let's go ahead and get into the movie right here. So as many know, this is the biopic of what they say is the world's probably most notorious band, NWA, which stands for what, Chris?
Let me see. N-words with wit and attitude.
Nice guys with attitude.
I love those guys. No white people allowed. I guess I'm not going in there, huh?
Yeah. Let's just put it out there. With attitude is what they were called. They were, before you even heard any music, the name was even a little too edgy for people out there. This is a long movie. I think I saw a different cut than what was in the theater, because the movie is supposed to be 2 hours and 27 minutes. I saw a cut today that was 2 hours and 46 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Director's cut then, yeah.
It was like a director's cut, and I think I know what the director cut back in. I'll talk about that in a little while. Okay. But what I like about this movie, so I say it's a long movie, but what I like about this is that the first half really does capture the rawness of NWA, man. So much that opening doesn't even feel like we're about to get into a biopic. That opening feels like we're about to watch a hood action movie, right?
Thriller.
Like, like if you didn't know what you were watching, you think that this is some blaxploitation shit or this is gonna be an action movie, man. And specifically action hood movie, because it starts out with everything that in movies the hood is about. Opens up with people talking about 40s, talking about malt liquor.
Hey, Tasha.
I'm right here.
Hey, get this dude a 40. Bitch, I just said I wasn't thirsty.
Oh, why you gotta be so ruthless, Eric?
Now, you want to play a drinking game, pull out your malt liquor and drink every time they say ruthless in this movie.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, you will not be alive. NWA will kill you. But you see, they got the tough talk. All the ladies are bitches and hoes and everything. So it's very straight up hood, man. The action part comes in. That's the hood part. The action part comes in because the movie got tanks. This is the beginning of this is the beginning of the film. They got a tank coming in and crashing the hood. I love it. We just saw a chick get punched in the stomach by a tank. Mm-hmm. But when we were in the theater watching this movie, it was like, wow. They just jumped right off into it. I did not know what we were getting into with this.
Yeah, it's a great start.
It's an incredible start. It pulls you in, man. Punches you in the gut with
especially to speak for myself, like I know very little about NWA. Some might be surprised by that, and so I was like, wow, does this really happen? This is exciting.
Now I don't know if this happened right here.
No, that
don't
happened.
say. Yeah, I don't know if because they're dropping things in here like in the beginning, they're dropping little hood Easter eggs for people who love NWA.
Sure.
Like, the Ruthless Records,
right.
And Easy was known for talking about, I'm ruthless, and so they, dropping the word ruthless in here. That's like a hood Easter egg right there. But
it captures the mainstream audience's attention when you see something like that. It's like, oh, this is entertaining.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I tell you, it might be a little cheesy, might be a little corny, but it fits. It definitely fits Eazy-E.
Yeah. Who's the director on this? Was it F.
Gary Gray?
Yeah, and he's done action movies, plenty of them. So
that is true. He did
Fast and Furious.
Mm-hmm. So he said, "Shit, I don't know if it happened, but I'm gonna have it." Busting him, punch a bitch in the chest.
I still have these cars from the Fast and Furious movie. So let's use it.
What I really like about the opening of this, once we get past the tanks tearing down houses and everything, is that opening might seem a little extra for a biopic, an action scene with a tank coming in, busting down a house, but it does fit Eazy-E's character, and it does fit what they do with the rest of the characters. Because one of the things I really think that this movie does great is that it knows how to introduce each of these characters in scenes that fit who they are. Eazy is a drug dealer. He's a hustler. This movie opens up with a very intense drug scene, and it kind of shows why he needs to get out of the game.
Well, my people sitting right across the street from your mama house right now. Because if I don't show up, they gonna show out. Greenleaf, right? That's the street she stay on?
You really want to take it there?
It's a good thing he started rapping, because that mouth's gonna get him killed. Right? At least from what we see in this movie right here. When you get to another key player in NWA, Dr. Dre, his is kind of the total opposite of Eazy-E. You know, when they show him, he's not the same guy. He's a guy that's all about his music. He's deep into his music to the point where he's just kind of lost in it. You know, they show how passionate he is about his music. You know, he gets lost in it. He dreams about it to the point where it's causing a rift between him and his mother.
I already know what I want to do with my life. And it definitely ain't sitting in some cubicle taking orders on a bullshit ass job. Shut up!
Nope. Well, I think that says it all right there.
You know, the moment it came out of his mouth, though, just like, I did this.
Yeah, not in your mama's house.
Not to your mama. Don't do that.
Well, I think he walked through the rest of the movie.
His neck never recovered.
Ice Cube. A lot of people say Ice Cube was the brains behind a lot of the lyrics that they first started out with. Ice Cube, played by O'Shea Jackson Jr. right here, Ice Cube's actual son. But when they introduce him as the observer. You know, he's the reason why he's writing all these lyrics is because he's the one that's speaking truth about his environment because he's observing all the time. You know, and when they introduce him, not only do they show him as the observer because he's sitting down quietly, you know, looking at what's happening, but it's a hilarious scene, man. It's one of my favorite scenes, the bus scene from the movie where one of the Crenshaw Mafia come in because somebody was throwing gang signs up on the bus. So they come in to say, well, you know what? Y'all ain't out of school just yet. You about to get another lesson.
Open up the goddamn door, man. Hey, what's going on, blood? Y'all need to gang bang them books.
And look, he's like, I'm going to write so many good rhymes from this. That is a great scene, man. But if you know,
grown-ass man sitting in the back of the bus?
All these grown-ass people.
I don't even think that's a man. That's a werewolf or something. But if you notice, he's not even showing any kind of fear or anything. And his mind it's spinning like he's observing, man. He does a lot of that at the beginning of the movie. You know, they just really, you know, have a great way of just bringing these characters in instead of like showing a title card for them or a name and being like, oh, what's up, Ice Cube? Hey. Yeah.
It's not over stylized.
Yeah, it's not over
Their names pop up, but it's just
but they use story to introduce them.
Yes.
They sit back and let the story reveal who their personalities are, you know, and they don't try to like do it really quickly or anything like that. Hey, you writing the good rhymes today because you're always looking at stuff. You know, they don't do that with this. And I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. Say what you will about nepotism and nepo babies, but O'Shea Jackson Jr., he was literally born to play this
that role. I know.
Well, what's so? I think he's just a good actor in general.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's proven that he's an actor outside of this.
Yes,
Sure did,
but what's so funny to me is that like Ice Cube he's been playing himself for his entire career. And, you know, it's hit and miss. There's some good roles and some bad roles, but he's like better than his dad at playing like his dad being himself. He's better. Yeah.
Because he's had his whole life growing up studying.
Doing exactly that. Looking at his dad.
Studying that role his whole life. And he's just like, okay, basically what I got to do is just scowl all the time. Probably at the end of the day, he's like, ooh, that hurts my face.
But he's a better actor at everything.
Yes. No, yes.
And I'm sure his dad is proud. He's like, of course, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
But when you get into the forming of the band, you start getting into the music, you begin to see why this biopic stands out, you know, and you begin to see why it has such a big social impact, which is what makes this movie stand out as a biopic. You know, first of all, we rarely ever get hip hop biopics. And when we do, you know, they are not on this level right here, man. So when we saw Universal was putting this out, everybody's like, wow. I mean, this got money behind it.
And besides being such a present to fans who went nuts for it, I think it wins over a lot of people who weren't fans.
Yeah. No,
or just didn't know anything about them.
Like knew they existed. It was
yes, exactly.
And like, okay, and then to watch this is one of those like it washes over you like, oh my God.
I've heard
amazing.
Yeah. I've heard so many people who knew nothing about NWA. My brother-in-law was from Turkey. He said he saw this and this movie inspired him, man. For me, NWA, it was the only thing I can compare NWA to right now that I can think of for me, you know, hearing it for the first time and being just blown away, knowing that this is something that's different. the only thing I could compare it to is probably Nirvana. I can only speak personally because when I heard that song, I was like, Jesus Christ, I don't know what it is about this song. I don't know what it is about this band. I don't know who the hell they are, but I feel like I'm looking at history in the making right now. They're changing everything. That's the first time I felt that, or that's what I felt the first time I saw Smells Like Teen Spirit. So, you know, when I first saw NWA and I was in high school and all the kids were buying the records and the tapes and everything, it was like, wow, this is history in the making. No one has heard anything like this on this level before. It was bringing back what rock and roll did when it first came out, you know, just really shaking up authority. You know, even more than heavy metal did. Satan didn't have nothing on these black. You know, Ozzy Osbourne biting their head off, bats and everything. They had nothing to do, you know, or nothing on these guys right here speaking truth, man. It was new, it was intimidating. Even other black hip hop people, because everybody thought, oh, of course it was rankling, you know, white authority out there. No, even other black hip hop people didn't know what to make of this at the time. I was really impressed. I thought that was cool that they put that in the movie. When they had those dudes from New York and they're like, man, what is this shit that you want us to do?
Yeah, man, I ain't with this shit.
Wearing a Kango don't make you LL Cool. What you gonna do? What you gonna do, Mark?
Well, that escalated quickly. You know, being a rare, it's like, damn, we're just trying to make a song. Being a rare hip hop biopic of this magnitude, you know, it gave this movie more meaning, man. You know, most biopics are, especially about musicians, you know, they go through the rise and fall, maybe rise again, you know, if they're lucky or if they're lying, you know. But this is the story of a band that, let's pull the clip up here, on the trailer up here. You know, this is a story of a band that even though they're not together anymore, the band in this movie, they still serve as the voice of a people. There's a lot of racism out there, of course, and a lot of racism is, you know, it comes from America not wanting to acknowledge the harsh realities of what exists here. They don't want to acknowledge the harsh realities of history. They don't want to acknowledge the harsh realities of the present that we have right here. And you know, when you have that, you have people who would rather sweep it aside, ignore it, and lock it away. Or if they can't do any of that, just straight on attack it.
That's some shit. Speak a little truth and people lose their minds.
You know, the movie says, this movie says what a lot of people didn't understand about the music at the time, about certain conditions today. This is what I really love about this movie, and this is one of the reasons why I think it's, you know, it's appropriate. It's an appropriate movie to talk about for Black History Month, because if you ask a lot of people, black and white, they would say, why you want to focus a movie about gangster rap? You know, guys who glorify violence and drugs and guns and bitches and all that kind of stuff. Why would you want to do that? And a lot of people didn't understand gangster rap at the time, at least what it was at that time when these guys came out with NWA. They were not glorifying that. They were highlighting all the things that America was afraid to talk about, all the things that America did not want to deal with, all the things that they would turn their heads and not look at. And that's why you got ignorant shit like just say no to drugs, you know, because it's easy for you to say when you're in a different community. When these people have no choice, sometimes that's a different thing. And so that's, you know, they were just doing real talk. They were just bringing out what they saw in their environment and brought it out in a way that they thought it would be easily consumed by people. Making music.
Y'all just got a snapshot of how Americans really feel. We gave the people a voice.
And ain't none of us got a passport, so you might want to check the source.
Yeah, next question.
Befuddled white guy.
Yeah,
Suppose that is right.
I'll sit down and think of a retort.
Well, okay.
That's totally what that is. That's 100% what that is.
The befuddled white guy handshake. Well,
all right. They sure told me.
Both the band and this movie, you know, they come back every now and then. To say, I tried to tell you.
Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. They have the authority to kill a minority.
You know, that's the anthem by NWA that people thought advocated violence on the police, when it was actually the other way around. You know, it's response to violence from the police on them. Mm-hmm. You know, you know, they thought that they were advocating violence because these guys were thugs, because these guys were criminals. And those pesky cops were keeping them from doing their nefarious deeds out there. Now, there's a few villains in this movie.
Yeah, there's a couple I can count.
You're
talking about my man, my guy.
Well, man, no, there's
yeah.
Come on, man.
Oh, I know, of course. Yeah, as soon as he comes on, it's like, this guy's trouble, I think. Something about him. I don't like it. Just have a good vibe.
Oh, the Black Kingpin.
Even as a lair.
I mean, these guys really were kind of like a Black Justice League, because they had a lot of villains.
They did. Rogues Gallery.
Rogues Gallery. But the biggest villain were the police, man. The police were the main ones, man. In the first half of this movie, every other scene, they were getting the shit beat out of them by the cops.
I'm telling you, to get back inside, or I promise you.
Mother.
No, you a let's get it straight. There are moments I thought were pretty funny with F. Gary Gray's direction with the police, man, because the police were on their ass so much that they had scenes where in the background you got the cops who were driving by, they stick their head out the window like, ooh, shit, they got some fresh ones. We're gonna be back for them. Watch this scene that you can see in the background as Dre is talking to his girl. You see a cop go by and he just sees him and just sticks his head right out the window like he's a dog or something.
We're sleeping in a twin bed at your auntie's house. We have a baby, Andre.
He looking at him like he's looking at hoes to pick up.
Yeah, I know. Like, man, if we weren't on our way somewhere, I'd go back.
Yeah.
I mean, Dre, he is sticking out his ass.
He is sticking out his ass. Like, ooh. That's a fine one there. I'm going to get all up in that ass. There's one scene here that shows how when you really are saying something and you're saying something relevant, sad, often sad, but here with all the police brutality that you see here, when you're really saying something, it comes back, man. It keeps coming back. And that's saying, and there's one particular thing with police brutality that's being said here that really makes this more relevant than ever. And this movie touches on, it's touching on everything. I mean, and it just goes to show you that this is a cycle that we still haven't really overcome yet. I mean, in the movie, they highlight the Rodney King beating.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps the most notorious police brutality case in recent memory.
They just let them people do whatever the hell they want.
And that's the scene before they even had the verdict that came in where they said all these guys, oh yeah, they beat his ass on the street, but they didn't do nothing wrong.
Yeah.
He had it coming. That's before the LA riots happened. A lot of, we're talking about the police brutality here, and there's never a moment where it's not angering or even disturbing. Mm-hmm. But there's one scene that was very disturbing above all, man. And that's when they get harassed by a black cop.
Get on the ground. On the ground? What's we supposed to do with this? On the ground. What we do? Hey.
If you've seen the movie, that's just the start. Like the demeaning language that he actually uses comparing NWA to slaves.
You got something to say, boy?
Chew. Get inside. Let's get back to work.
You heard what your master said. Get inside, boy.
That's ironic, being that he was probably doing all this to impress the white cop that's up there.
Yeah.
Something that, and this is the point I'm going to get to right here. While for people who criticize, saying, why are you doing this for Black History Month? This is not the right movie and not the right image for black people to bring out. Nah, man. NWA has been telling us shit for years, and people don't want to listen because they dismiss them as thugs and gangsters and all that. That particular scene right there is more relevant than it has ever been, because Cube, with his lyrics back in the day, tried to tell us not only about police brutality and harassment, but also harassment done not by white cops, but also by black cops.
But don't let it be a black and a white one, because they'll slam you down to the street top. Black police showing out for the white cop.
And what do we have recently? Mm-hmm. Over in Memphis, 5 black cops beat an unarmed black man to death. And a lot of people ask, How could all of them do that to another black person? And this movie showed us how. The lyrics showed us how back in the day. They told us how. You know, if you are working within a racist environment, that racist environment is going to twist you into that. And your mind gets twisted in that right down to adopting their language.
You got something to say, boy?
Q, get inside. Let's get back to work.
You heard what your master said. Get inside.
You know, this man, who knows what this man was thinking before he got in there? But you know, if you're part of the system, you're gonna be part of the system. Right. Are you gonna be a problem of the system? You know, this is something that they also covered here in the movie. It's nothing new. It's crazy how this was happening still in the 90s. This, you know, America has killed people for simply speaking truth, speaking out. The Black Panthers who went in and tried to do better for their community got murdered for that. At least, you know, some heads of the Black Panther. These guys, they showed you that when you come out and you speak truth in a way that is very headstrong, very defiant, you know, very forward. You know, the government is watching. those dudes.
They got a file on you.
They got a file on you. Yeah, and usually the FBI they'll put a file on you. And they won't even tell you. They want to let them know. Yeah, we know what you're doing. We see your black asses out there.
I'm not giving him anything. I just said we retire it for now. Okay, it is a reasonably worded threat. These guys can come after us a million different ways. I don't even want to think about it.
And that's Paul Giamatti as Jerry Heller there, the manager who, if you know the movie, I don't know, there's a lot of different stories that go on outside of the movie, but in the film it alleges that Jerry Heller was stealing from a lot of the members of the band, was giving them really dubious contracts. Jerry Heller tells a different story up until the day he died. So keep in mind it's a biopic, so who knows what was happening. But he's definitely one of the villains in this movie. Eventually. But we'll talk about him in a little bit. But you know, here's the funny thing about this, and why you know, these guys, they come out speaking truth and we don't want to hear it. You know, it's very relevant today, the hypocrisy that goes behind that, because they've been speaking for years about police brutality, and all these people talked about back the blue. I back the blue. You back the blue as long as they were beating the asses of people you didn't like.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. All the people with the Blue Lives Matter and, well, what if the cops were gone? Wouldn't you like that either? It's like, I wouldn't mind it if these cops were gone.
And there's a lot of politicians out there who will not address that a lot of these rioters, these insurrectionists, these traitors, they went in and threatened these cops, a lot of them with the N-word.
More and more insurrectionists were pouring into the area by the speaker's lobby near the rotunda. One woman in a pink MAGA shirt yelled, "You hear that, guys? This voted for Joe Biden." You know, you don't hear those politicians talking about that. You don't hear them bringing this up. In fact, they made fun of that guy, and they made fun of another guy who had PTSD afterwards.
Yeah.
Pretty much said he was a bitch because he couldn't do his job. He couldn't handle it. You know, but yet these people want to call these guys evil over here because they speak the truth, and they talked about how the cops abuse them. You know, this is why this movie is important. This is why something like this should be talked about. It's easy to keep repeating the same Martin Luther King. It's easy to keep repeating the same holding hands, getting along, and being colorblind and all that shit. That does nothing to speak to the truth of what really goes on. You know, that's all that kumbaya. That's just a distraction. Well, this is why this movie is important, and his band was important. You know, talking about how this movie still has an impact for tragic reasons. You know, that's sad. You know, of course, it's something that gets you down. But they're really, you know, I don't want to make that the highlight of this right here, because all that stuff is very tragic. All that stuff is disheartening. It's very sad. It's very true too. But you know, I mean, listen, this is a movie too. You know, and this movie is not successful just because it was speaking truth. You know, it ain't no struggle shit. Shit, it ain't anything but a struggle to get through this, because it's a very entertaining film, man. And here's the thing that when I was watching it, I remembered why a lot of people love this movie, because this movie was inspiring.
It was.
Yeah. You know, this movie was inspiring because, and it's still inspiring today. I watched it and I was like, damn, man, I'm looking at these guys like how these guys are persevering. You know, not through racism and police brutality, but just persevering through creativity. You know, it often, you know, through all the, and see, that's the thing. You watch this movie, it's not depressing, anything like that. It's often very exciting, and it's often very funny. And man, a lot of people relate because when a lot of people get together, work on projects, and same can be said, you know, with what we do here. You know, there's just a lot of hurdles you get through because of, you know, not everybody has the same skill set. Somebody feels like they're doing more work than the other. People can't rap.
Let's go. Cruising down the street in my 6'4".
They're like, shit. Now, that's one of the things I call bullshit on this movie because don't nobody start out rapping that bad and end up being like one of the world's most legendary rappers a week later. I was like, nah, he wasn't that bad. Now, come on, they did that for comedic effect.
And he's dead, so he can't count.
Yeah, anything about it.
Wait a minute, goddammit.
No. Them, you know, of course, you know, now you have that sort of creativity between people. They're trying to find their voice, trying to find their stride and whatnot. That's relatable, man. You know, I like I say, when I've worked with people, we've gone through stuff like this. You know, we've made skits where we told people to repeat lines and read it this way and whatnot. Like, God damn, man, can't you act? So, you know, I'm not talking about you, Martin. You know, but you know, we've been through that, man. But there's also some hilarious scenes in here, man. Where, you know, you're always going to have this in movies where people trying to find success. They're going to have people who don't believe in them. And man, I was laughing my ass off at those
cornerstone of the biopic.
Of course, yeah. Man, I was laughing my ass off at those scenes with Lonzo. I guess that was Dre's uncle or something, man. The guy who was giving them a place to record, who employed Dre to DJ at his show. The only thing is he didn't want to hear all that gangster shit. He didn't want to hear all that rap shit. He wanted to play R&B songs and love songs. And these dudes, I don't even know why he kept them around because they were just a pain in his ass and they didn't like him. And I forgot the guy who played Lonzo, man. But he was, I know his name is Corey something, the actor. But this guy was hilarious. I wish he had more scenes in this movie.
And I'm serious about all you taking up my time and that's coming out your pay.
Yeah, okay. You got it.
No, you got it.
Man, that's one of my favorite lines in that movie. You got it. Man, and they always show him like fluffing out and spraying his Jerry curl when he's talking. Lonzo, Corey Reynolds. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Corey Reynolds is the actor's name.
Too many Corey's in this movie.
I know. Corey Hawkins, Corey Reynolds, Corey Coleman. Yes, man, that guy's hilarious, man. I tell you, after I saw this though, and I heard several people say this, man. After they saw this, a lot of people, including myself, said, "You know what, man? Either I just want to go home and work on all the projects I never started working on, or with me, it just made me want to work harder on the stuff that we were doing here."
Well, it made you, at least me, I don't know if you can attest to this, miss those days when we were young, a long time ago, when there's so many of us who were all doing kind of the same thing and working together back and forth, you know, the 90s.
Yeah.
It was it was a fun time. It's a creative time. It was so much energy in the atmosphere.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. You remember those days.
Oh, yeah. Back doing it in the
trying to come out of the womb.
mid-90s. Yep, yeah, that was hard, but I was inspired.
You
thanks to these guys right here.
And you know what?
Creativity. Yes. NWA. Thank you.
WWA Whiteys with attitude.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Mostly though, as I said, it has a lot of serious stuff in here, but it's just an entertaining movie, man.
It is.
Yeah.
A lot of great performances. You know, we mentioned some of the actors already. I forgot to get now. Carlo, who's the guy that plays Easy? Jason something. Jason Mitchell. So Corey Hawkins, Jason Mitchell. You know, we've seen those guys come up, man. Aldous Hodge has gone on.
Oh yeah.
To like really blow up.
Yeah.
He was
Hawkman.
Yeah. Just in Black Adam. He was one of the few things I really liked in that movie. One of the best performances in here though is Paul Giamatti, man. Yeah. Paul Giamatti is amazing in this movie as their manager, who, depending on what you have heard or believe, but according to this movie, ripped them off. Paul Giamatti, listen, one of the things that Paul Giamatti's great at in movies is losing his shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just losing his mind. Mm-hmm. So I loved it when NWA, well, I guess they didn't drop Cube. Cube left NWA because he didn't like what was going on with Jerry Heller. And if you go by this movie, it was appropriate for him to feel that way. But you know how it is. And in hip hop, beef gets started some way, somehow. So NWA is making diss tracks about Ice Cube, calling him Benedict Arnold because he decided to leave. And they forget just how amazing a lyricist Ice Cube is. And Ice Cube's like, all right, y'all want to play? And thus he went off and created what is considered now a classic, No Vaseline, which NWA, they got it pretty hard in it, but that one line about Jerry Heller in there.
It's a case of divide and conquer because you let it juke break up my crew.
He's like, wait a minute. It's that one line. Jerry Heller got one line. Like the rest of the song went awful NWA, but Jerry Heller had that one line right there and he lost his mind. And Paul Giamatti's great in that part.
I don't know, defamation of character, libel, I don't really care. Who the do you think he is? You know what? I'll call my friends at the JDL.
That's always funny when somebody says, think they are.
Because he's getting himself revved up. That's what it is. Yeah. Angrier and angrier and angrier. Yeah.
He sure is, man.
He escalates it.
This is your first one of these, isn't it?
So watching it today, it's different. It's going to be different for everybody. I still love the movie, man. It's a lot of great things in this film. The movie, as I said, still holds up with certain things to say better than ever. But I still think the first half is much better than the second half. We were talking about this before. What are you going to say?
That's kind of the thing with a lot of biopics.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what it is with this, man, where the first half had that raw energy, man, showed why these guys, it was angry. It showed why people would be scared of these guys, man. The first half had something to say. Mm-hmm. That's why, again, it has an impact. The second half is where you start to get into, okay, this is a biopic.
Yeah.
Now it kind of did. Oh, what are you gonna say? Okay.
No, it goes through all the tropes and the structure
that
bio film does. And it's the fall, and it's the falling out, and it's usually either because people don't get along or it's either drugs or alcohol. In this case, it's people just don't get along.
Yeah, and yes, it's all that, and there's like a checklist of okay, well, if you're going to talk about them, you got to have this in there, or you got to mention this, or you got to do this, and it's like, man, we had a good, great, like you say, raw movie that was something different.
Yep.
And then it was like, yeah, but here's the list. You got to get those in there.
Yeah.
Like,
it was so raw, stood out from biopics, and the second half became a biopic. Now they did little things in the beginning where they were dropping little hints of, oh shit, that's the origin of this thing you like. Yeah. Like bye Felicia.
Bye Felicia.
That I can guarantee that didn't happen. That's an Easter egg right there. That's when they were having a party. There was a chick named Felicia there. Some dude who was strapped came looking for her. So they pushed Felicia out. Some part of the movie seemed just real. Now we start getting, as you say, those tropes.
Yes.
Which just seem just like, it's, and these guys are great actors, but when they have them do this, the acting just seems phony.
You got knocked the out.
Oh, Ice Cube, you're hilarious.
I did it just like that, son. Just like that. Laugh that
way. He said what would be the classic line from that movie out loud to himself because he knew. Yeah, man, that's him writing Friday. You got knocked as that famous line Chris Tucker did. See, that didn't happen like that.
No.
That's going to be a classic.
Plus, as we already got our Friday Easter egg. We don't need a whole bunch.
No, we need a lot more.
I love Lakeith Stanfield as an actor. I think he's a great actor. He's one of my favorites. I love the guy. Miscast as Snoop Dogg though. It just looked nothing like Snoop.
Oh yeah.
I heard Nipsey Hussle was actually supposed to play Snoop at one time, but he declined, I think. Who looks much more like Snoop than Lakeith Stanfield does. So I looked at that. That's another thing with the movie. I was like, when I see him, he's just doing an impression.
Yeah.
And there's even one part with he just stops talking like Snoop, man. I'm like, you're being Lakeith right now. But hey, boy, and when Suge Knight enters.
That's the Thanos of this movie. I was like, they're setting something up here. Later in this phase, I guess.
Man, yeah, because I thought they were gonna have a hip hop universe with Death Row and all that. People are actually saying that, like, man, we're gonna make a movie about Tupac is gonna be related to Straight Outta Compton. You know, we're gonna get
that's a good idea. Actually.
Yeah, we're gonna get Snoop Dogg with his story. You know, and I guess they all come together and they have to, at the end of it, they got to save the universe from Suge Knight. Because when Suge Knight enters the movie, man, it's not even it's not even feel like a biopic anymore. It feels like a mafia movie or a gangster film. Which, hey, look, I guess they were gangsters to a certain extent.
Think I'm signing that? You crazier than I thought you was. I'm out.
Yes.
He's being a villain already. Like maniacal and all that.
Nah. Don't make me change you, Eric.
Put on that battle glove and shit. I'll snap your ass. Don't make me snap your ass.
See, someone is that, I'm not too familiar with, like, if all this is actually true. And if he's over-exaggerating, he's entertaining in the movie.
Look,
this actor, he's just fun.
Suge Knight was a villain in real life.
No, I know that. But, like, these intimate details, it's just fun to watch him be that way throughout the entire
who played
film.
him is in jail, too?
Oh, it is? Oh,
yeah,
shit.
did he run over somebody? No, I guess Suge Knight himself ran over
Suge Knight
somebody.
did that. Yeah, he's in jail, and he turned into a bitch in jail real quick.
Did he?
Yeah, but the actor, he's in jail, too?
Oh, that's too bad.
Suge and Dre, they went and made and it's really Dre, they started Death Row Records. And Dre was all about business and doing the music. But I love the way Suge Knight just overnight turned that shit into Mos Eisley.
Yo, shut up.
Oh my God. Hey, sacrificing people to dogs.
I think it's like Job's Palace.
Yeah, like Job's Palace, man.
That's the Rancor.
Got the Rancor
Yeah.
over here.
The dog is like, no, you just stay right there.
Go! What? You want somebody to see that dog? Like, you on that? Oh. There's parts of the movie when it gets to the end, as much as these actors are great in this, there's some parts where it just gets really over dramatic.
This is an important company, Eric. I'm not gonna let you this up. Oh, for Christ's sake, Eric!
That part made me laugh so. Oh, for Christ's sake! Like a lover's leaving him.
Yeah, it's almost like a soap opera at that point. And I really like Paul Giamatti in that movie, but I was like, Jesus, that's too much from you.
Oh, for Christ's sake! That's funny.
Oh, gee whiz, why are you going on?
Don't do this to us.
Oh, for Christ's sake, Eric!
Oh, for Christ's sake!
Like, damn, man.
I don't want to come in and seem insensitive to this part of the film, but the storyline with Eazy, Eric Wright getting HIV, I'm kind of mixed on that because I'm being respectful, to I'm talking about the movie, not Eric Wright or Eazy, not the person. It just so there are certain times I think they handled it well, and certain times I did not. We were laughing about this before. It has nothing to do with laughing at somebody with AIDS or anything. It's just, I got a thing where I think, I can't even get mad at it. It's a trope I don't like, but I laugh every time I see it. Whenever somebody gets sick and they always get the the cough. Yeah. And it's not just the cough, it's that cough that says you're going to die one day.
It's the cough followed by, are you okay?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
But if you want me, Eric, Jerry can't be there.
Hey, man.
You okay? Yeah, that part right there, like, okay, that's something you see in every movie. It never looks convincing.
We've seen it in so many movies that even the other day, I coughed my daughter said, "You all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm all right." And in my brain, I went, "Oh shit!"
You're like, what kind of shitty writing is this?
I'm gonna die.
No, you're not gonna die. You're just speaking some really bad dialogue right now. That part is silly to me. But when they started handling, I got into how, just how scared Eazy was when he got HIV.
Sure.
That part I thought that was really rough.
What are we supposed to do?
We can probably keep you comfortable for maybe 6 months at the very most.
Comfortable? What do you mean comfortable?
Like, Jesus. He's like, how do I leave this room?
Yeah. And how do I tell him that we can't really keep you comfortable?
Yeah,
that too.
Yeah.
What do you mean comfortable? Not what it normally is.
Yeah.
Honestly.
You want to know what the most messed up part of that scene is, though? Oh. Yeah, I don't want to hear that shit. When that dude just shut the door, it had no expression after.
He was gonna start crying.
I don't think he gave it shit. He was like, I don't want to hear this, man. He's like, he's bringing my vibe right now. He's ruining my mode.
It seemed more like a damn. E is gay.
Yeah.
They didn't speak to that ignorance. It's like, where his whole thing is like, I'm not an F word.
Yeah. That's another thing with the movie. They say that they if you want to know something that probably would not fly today, even within the next, the past 6 years, they say the F word a lot in here. The F
that's part of the vernacular. That's what they said.
Yeah, from the 90s.
That's what they talk like. So I know a lot of people.
It'd be dishonest to not have it.
Exactly.
It would be. A lot of people today might be like, yeah, I don't know if this movie, I don't like what they say. They cancel this movie. I doubt if anybody's going to cancel it. But I know some people might be offended. But it's a reflection of the times, what they talk like. I mean, I know a lot of people who talk like that. And we didn't think twice to get offended because that's how it was. Yep. And I've heard this is real because this seems like one of the most exaggerated parts of the movie. One of the parts that anyone would say, that never happened. But apparently, and I think I heard Ice Cube say this in an interview. He said, yeah, I went in there and tore that record office up and they didn't give me my money.
Should have kept your word, Brian. I will get you your money, bitch.
I was too late for that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're past that.
You should have done that before you start beating the shit out your walls up in here. Some interesting side notes. And also to kind of end on a positive here. Well, let me see here. Oh, you know what? No, still more negativity. Because this is true. This is true. This is something that should be, listen, I'm not saying one way or the other, but it is out there and should be addressed. This movie kind of glorifies a lot of the members of NWA, especially Dr. Dre. In the movie even says, he went on to make one of the biggest deals with Apple ever. He's a billionaire now. A lot of people are still kind of mentioning that, I don't know how we do this. Maybe we should just not push this aside when we talk about Dr. Dre. Not saying we should cancel him or anything like that. But let's not totally ignore that he probably has a history of abuse with women, and a lot of people have pointed to one of the women he signed on to his label as one of his acts, Michelet, who said, yeah, he came in and just beat the shit out of me.
One night he came in, I guess he went out with Stock and yelling, and he came in drunk and just...
I'm sorry, y'all, so low, it just sounds like a fly buzzing. But what she says, I'll play it and maybe turn it up, but he said he just came in one night, I think he said he was drunk or something, he socked me.
Took off and sucked me in ass. I honestly couldn't tell you, we couldn't have had an argument or anything because I was just waking up to...
I like the way he confused you. Like, is this Minnie Mouse over here?
Yeah, no, it's just the audio.
No, it's her
I like
voice.
the way. Oh, like, did you speed this up?
Yeah, I didn't know. I'm like, this is okay.
Did she suck in some helium before then? That's the way Michelet talks. Man.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm the first time I've
I
ever seen
know another couple of women who have that kind of cartoon voice. Because there's one of my daughter's friends' moms. Remember walking with her. And I had never talked to her before, and I had my head turned. She started talking, and I turned thinking she was doing a bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, that's her voice.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I mean, to me, I was just taken back. I wasn't sure.
So hey, man, you want to be taken aback more? I should have pulled this up.
Oh, her music.
Yeah. So.
All right, right, Jesus Christ.
No, completely different, right?
Yeah. All right, wow, okay.
Now, you know, again, I'm not trying to accuse or anything like that, but if we're going to talk about guys putting truth out there, then maybe some of this stuff should be addressed. Dre also has been accused of not supporting a daughter that he has out there. Story out there saying that one of his daughters is homeless and living in her car. While he has an $800 million fortune. Dr. Dre's 38-year-old estranged daughter has revealed she is homeless and has been living in a car, and she hasn't received a dime from her wealthy father in 18 months. Dr. Dre's a billionaire. Now, I don't know what the story is behind that. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying one thing or the other. But, you know, these are things that should probably be talked about instead of just completely glorifying somebody based on a movie. But, you know, that's out there. But one of the cool things that I thought the movie did was, because I showed this to Julian the other day. I said, you like Dr. Dre, right? He's like, man, I love NWA. I said, you remember World Class Wrecking Crew? And he's like, oh man, what is that? I said, that was a band that Dr. Dre was in before. And I said, and this is when he was kind of a glamour boy, man. He had like a mesh suit on, eyeliner, lip gloss. There he is right there. Yeah. Yeah, you know, this is pretty as can be. Look at him right there. Yeah. He was still a doctor though. Look at that.
Yeah, he's got a stethoscope. He's got that. I believe him.
Yeah. looking like he's wearing a wool suit grandma made for him.
It's just like a knit sweater.
He has a sweater that's
very space age.
Yeah, it's a one-piece sweater right here. Yeah. They do kind of address that in the movie. They kind of show it, you know, minus the makeup and everything.
I love your jacket, by the way.
You bagging on me.
Yeah, they had this is back when I guess Lonzo had them doing the World Class Wrecking Crew stuff. But we were talking about how he's like, man, I wasn't in the movie, and I was like, yeah, actually it was. You know, they touched on it a little bit.
Looks better in the movie than it does in real life.
Yeah. They you know they knew the audience that they were putting this out there for. Yeah. They couldn't put them in all that lipstick and everything. It's still an entertaining film. Still a very good film. Even with that second part being more of a biopic. I liked it a lot. I don't know. Did you see it?
You know, I saw it when we saw it at the screening.
Yeah. Liked it back then?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, how did you feel about it watching?
Well, yeah, I hadn't seen it since originally came out in theaters in 2015, and I remember like really enjoying it. I think it was might have been like my top 10. And I'm saying this, someone doesn't really know. I knew of NWA, but I didn't know a lot about them. Like Ice Cube because of all the movies he did.
Yeah,
that was my end. But then seeing the story and the first half, I do feel like it's strong. I think the rise is always interesting with biopics and like how they put it together and they met, and then the camaraderie, and then I feel like the movie does kind of. This is all biopics, not just this movie, but it falls into some of the pitfalls of it's like, all right, okay, going through the rigmarole again. But no, it's a very entertaining movie, and the performances are all great, and it doesn't. It comes across very earnest for the most part, and so I think it's definitely one of the biggest successes in terms of a biographical film from the 2010s. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I give it a full price.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, yeah, same here, man. I still enjoyed watching this. I remember watching this back in the day. Watched it over again like about 3 or 4 times because this is back when I was in the Critics Association, and I think either got a copy or I think that's what happened. I got a copy. That's why I watched it because I remember like saying I watched this before it went to home video or VOD. And at first I watched the whole thing and loved it. Thought it was great. But the second time I watched it, only watched half of it. Another time I watched it, cut off about halfway, and I was like, you know what? I'm really enjoying this first part the most.
Yeah.
But it's still a great film, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Check it out. Like I said, I might be able to provide a code for people to get the movie. Bonus features and everything. We hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, we got something very special for our viewers. You can buy this movie for $7.50. For now until February 28th at Get Out, Queen and Slim, Straight Outta Compton, Do the Right Thing, and Girls Trip to your movie collection. Just go to Vudu.com and redeem the code CelebrateBlackHistory. For details, check out the show notes in the description.